Ethan, that's enough. Tyler is just my guy best friend. That's it. There's nothing going on between us. My girlfriend's expression, which had been blissfully hazy while she was cozying up to her bestie, was now gone. The look she gave me was filled with nothing but anger and wounded pride. Jess, this new boyfriend of yours. He's not it. A real step down from your last few, her best friend said, his eyes glinting with provocation. Finding myself dropped into the middle of one of those toxic, taming the nice guy novels was the worst luck imaginable. But the idea that they could just shove my face in the dirt and force me to live out the original protagonist's pathetic storyline, they could dream on. I knocked their damn heads off first. Later, my girlfriend was full of regret, sobbing about how it was all a misunderstanding. I've cut him off completely. I just held my clean, new girlfriend tighter and looked confused. Ma'am, who are you? Don't you know I have a thing about cleanliness? Security, show her out. If you let her in again, you're all fired. Her fading cries were like music to my ears. Sorry, but I don't sell miracle cures for regret. And I don't do recycling, especially not for toxic waste. The atmosphere at the birthday dinner was thick with tension. Ethan, are you done yet? Give it a rest. My girlfriend, Jessica, slammed her wine glass on the table. Tyler is just my best friend. That's all. There's nothing going on between us. You're always making a big deal out of nothing. What? Would you be happy if something actually was going on? The injustice dripped from her words, as if I were the one in the wrong. Exactly. We're just besties. It's normal to be close. Her best friend, Tyler, slung an arm around Jessica, his face a mask of innocent exasperation. If something was really happening, where would that even leave Ethan? He turned to Jessica. This boyfriend of yours, he's just not it. A real step down from your last few. Jessica, with her pea-sized brain, completely missed the venom in that comment. She didn't realize Tyler was poisoning the well, trashing her reputation in the process. Or maybe she just didn't care. Ethan, apologize to Tyler right now, or this isn't over. Tyler's mind games were working perfectly. Jessica, like a raging bull, had locked onto me, her eyes burning with fury. Meanwhile, my head was still spinning. Was I transmigrated into a book? And it had to be this god-awful short story, one of those taming the nice guy train wrecks that had just made my blood boil. But I wasn't the original protagonist, that spineless loser. They wanted to tame me? They must have been eating the wrong kind of mushrooms. As everyone knows, not every web novel protagonist is destined for greatness. Some are so pathetic the word tragic doesn't even begin to cover it. The Joker would see them and go, "Buddy, you're so pathetic you're going to put me out of a job." The most notorious simps online would bow down and say, "Bro, teach me your ways. If I learn from you, I can definitely win her over." The protagonist I'd just become was exactly that kind of pathetic loser. Because this book was a taming novel. It's called Taming because it builds on the pathetic protagonist genre and adds a very specific, manipulative agenda. A single glance at the plot is enough to make any normal reader see red. The basic story goes like this. The main character, MC, has a girlfriend he's been with since college. But she has a male best friend she's known for even longer. At first, things are normal. But as the wedding date approaches, the girlfriend and her bestie get more and more entangled. When confronted, it's always we're just friends or only a dirty mind sees dirt everywhere. The MC is a complete doormat the entire time, scoffing, playing deaf, and letting his soul get crushed. It isn't until he catches them red-handed, with irrefutable proof, that the MC finally walks away. The girlfriend, full of regret, supposedly cuts off the bestie and begins the groveling process of winning the MC back. By then, the MC has already found a better, richer, more beautiful woman, the rebound goddess. Of course, a plot like that alone wouldn't be enough to trigger an old hand like me. The author's twisted little taming genius was all in what came next. The ex-girlfriend finds out she's pregnant and tells the MC it's his. The MC, who had supposedly moved on, has his core programming reactivated. At first, he's cold. The new, rich girlfriend thinks he's being too cruel to his ex, calls him heartless, and breaks up with him. Just as the MC is feeling empty and afraid, a mutual friend comes to him and says, "Jessica was just testing you because she loves you so much and was afraid of losing you. You misunderstood her." The MC is incredibly moved by this. He thinks, even though the timeline means there's no way that kid is mine, her love for me is real, and the child is innocent. I have to raise him. And so, having reconciled with himself, the MC turns around a second time and goes back to his ex. They get back together, their relationship stronger than ever. The MC is grateful for his ex-girlfriend's wandering eye and infidelity because it helped him grow. To prove it, He doubles down on caring for her and the child. His life is fulfilled, the emptiness and fear gone for good. And the male bestie? Oh, flies don't land on an unbroken egg. He was innocent. He had already scammed a huge amount of money from the ex-girlfriend and his other marks and vanished from the second half of the story. He left her with nothing but his precious blessing and disappeared into the crowd. This little taming story was what broke me. Maybe the rage gave me an aneurysm because I blinked and suddenly I was the protagonist, Ethan Cole. Fine, let's see what happens. I'm not a doormat anymore. You think you can still force my head down and make me play the clown? Ethan, what does that look on your face? What are you smirking at? Is your face paralyzed? My silence made Jessica even more furious. She slammed her hand on the table again and yelled, "Apologize to Tyler, now, or this isn't over." My mind cleared. I turned around and walked out of the private dining room. The entire table fell silent. After a long moment, one of Jessica's friends muttered, "Did Ethan snap?" Of course not. I hadn't snapped, and I hadn't changed my personality. I was just leaving to make a few preparations. I'd be right back, and then I was going to give them a show they'd never forget. A phone call and one quick action. It didn't even take a minute. When I returned, the lively atmosphere in the room had been restored. Kiss, kiss, kiss. Whoa. Clearly, the truth or dare game at this birthday party was a carefully orchestrated plot by Jessica's friends. They weren't going to let my little walkout stop them. Tyler had, with unbelievable luck, just happened to draw the dare passionate kiss with a friend of the opposite sex. He wasn't about to give that up. Jessica wouldn't let him, and their well-meaning friends, who were dying to see them crash and burn, certainly wouldn't either. The kiss happened just as expected. Click! The sound of my phone's camera shutter was lost in the roar of the cheering sycophants. All right, that's enough, I said with a smile, walking closer and offering a friendly reminder. My voice was drowned out, but Tyler and Jessica obviously heard my loser's lament. Tyler shot me a sidelong glance, his eyes filled with defiance. Jessica deliberately ignored me, as if trying to protest my lack of tact with her actions. Ethan, can't you read the room? Can't you see Jess is busy? Yeah, man, Jessica's a free woman. Go get in line. Two of the biggest instigators tried to block my path, their intentions anything but friendly. What am I going to do with you guys? I grinned, and this time it was genuine. I grabbed each of them by the back of the head and slammed their faces together. Crack, a crisp, satisfying sound, like a good melon. The two of them immediately started howling in pain. Without missing a beat, I grabbed a dinner plate off the table and smashed it down on Tyler's head. You like leftovers so much, you little stray? Here, it's all yours. The room exploded. Ethan, what the hell are you doing? It's Jessica's birthday. How could you start a scene at her birthday party? You're acting like a maniac. What are Jessica and Tyler supposed to do now? The crowd was furious. It seemed they were more interested in their little game of tormenting the nice guy than actually eating. Don't know what to do. Then how about nobody does anything? I grabbed the edge of the table and flipped it. Dishes, glasses, and food went flying everywhere. No one dared to cheer anymore. Screams erupted, and a few of the quicker ones were already scrambling for the door. I don't understand what gives people the courage to trample on someone else's dignity. But I'm not a doormat. This time, I chose to fight back, and I was ready to see it through to the end. Life is a one-way street. Every choice is an all-in bet. Tyler and the others were convinced I'd swallow any humiliation they dished out. But I flipped the table, and I was ready to accept the consequences. I hope they were ready, too. Damn, you could take a punch. Strike first to prevent 100 more. Life is sometimes like that. The more you try to appease people, the more they walk all over you. But the moment you're ready to burn it all down, they might just start acting reasonable, maybe even sing you a song and dance. Which is why, when my best friend from college, Ryan Stone, rushed over with a few buddies, afraid I was in over my head, he ended up catching me right at the hotel entrance. Whoa, Ethan, I thought you said you were finally going to man up and might end up in a holding cell. Did you? Chicken out again. Ryan could see my collar was torn and I looked a bit disheveled, but he wasn't sure if a real fight had broken out. Not a chance, Ree. Don't worry, I said, holding up my phone to show him the photos and audio recording. It was Jessica and her bestie. They're the ones who backed down this time. I was ready to go all the way, but it looks like I won't have to. The recording had started the second I walked back into that room and didn't stop until I left. It captured my counterattack, all the insults Jessica's friends threw at me, and the things I said while I was pounding on Tyler, the very things the original protagonist was supposed to say to expose his schemes. At first, Tyler just played his usual card, the cunning, weak, pitiful victim. That was his signature move. But after a few hits, his temper flared, and Tyler's true colors came out. This guy, who already had a messy private life and a side gig seducing wealthy older women at exclusive clubs, was completely set off by my expose and fought back. The original Ethan was frail, but I was a combat sports enthusiast before I got dropped into this world. Not only did I not get hurt, but I managed to turn it into a mutual brawl and even recorded a ton of incriminating trash talk that Tyler spewed in his rage. Things like, "It was Jessica who had no shame and slept with me. It's your fault you couldn't keep her." And I just wanted to see how pathetic the school's golden boy would be after I screwed his girlfriend. And Jessica's an idiot. She deserves it. I played her for a fool, and she played you for a fool. You both deserve it. Anger and fists had made him lose his head, and he said a whole lot of things he shouldn't have. When the fight ended, Jessica ignored everything Tyler had revealed and kept all her hatred focused on me. But Tyler was smart. After failing to snatch my phone, he clearly sensed something was up. He suddenly dropped his love to stir the pot persona and started crying with a black eye, begging Jessica to calm down and not blow things up. "Ethan, you psycho. You completely ruined my birthday party. I'm breaking up with you. We're done." Ultimately, she decided against calling the cops and having me arrested, which meant all my initial preparations were for nothing. But a breakup? That was music to my ears. Right in front of her, I deleted her number, blocked her and all her friends, and walked away. All that was left was Jessica, cradling a bruised and swollen Tyler, just standing there, stunned and screeching. Her ultimate weapon, "I don't love you anymore." How could it have failed? "So, you really don't love Jessica anymore?" Ryan was completely skeptical. The original Ethan was a classic flake. For Jessica, he'd abandoned his promise to start a business with Ryan and their other friends. He took a boring office job for stability to give her a happy life as soon as possible. Basically, aside from being a pushover in the relationship, the original Ethan had sacrificed God knows how much for her. But I wasn't that doormat. Not only do I not love her, I'm quitting my job. That project we were talking about before, you still want to get it off the ground. For real? Ryan was ecstatic. "Ethan, did you finally see the light?" I could tell he'd been waiting for me to wake up for a long, long time, and I was brimming with confidence, ready to get started. Having absorbed the original's memories, I felt terrifyingly capable. Maybe to make the taming aspect of the novel seem more effective, protagonists like this are often unbelievably competent in their careers. Some can even single-handedly keep their cheating wife's dying company afloat. All that talent was now mine to use. After that mess with Tyler, you probably didn't even get to eat, did you? Ryan, probably worried I'd changed my mind, just wanted to get me away from that toxic scene. "Come on, my treat. We'll get some good food and celebrate your new lease on life." We were on the same page. We left without a second thought. Dinner, catching up, planning our business, we could do it all at once. A new life was beginning, and unlike the original Ethan, I wasn't going to be trapped in the past. Normally, the plot from here would be an endless back and forth. The doormat boyfriend begging his robot-brained girlfriend to maintain some boundaries. The girlfriend spouting nonsense about social freedom, pure friendship, we're not doing anything. First, she'd act like one of Pavlov's dogs, coming whenever her master called, even lying through her teeth when caught in bed with him, yelling, "We're best friends, it's fine for us to lie down together." Then, once the original Ethan started to pull away, she'd swing like a giant pendulum between two extremes. One moment swearing she'd keep her distance from the bestie, the next taking his call for help and moving heaven and earth to rush to his side like an addict getting a fix. But I don't play by the rules. While Jessica was having her meltdown, "It's all your fault you pissed off Tyler and blocked me. To punish you, I'm going on a 7-day couples trip to Maui with him." I decisively moved every single thing that belonged to me out of our apartment. I was gone. Clean break. Didn't even need a countdown. I knew Tyler was eating well right now, but I was eating better. "Ethan, I love you." After a sweet night together, the rebound goddess from the original story, Ava Monroe, was curled up against my chest, tracing circles on my skin. I walk away, and then the goddess swoops in to pick up the pieces. That's a reasonable plot development, isn't it? Ava was pristine, and she loved me enough. Naturally, I wasn't going to play the celibate saint. As for whether she'd follow the original plot later and leave me for being too heartless, whatever. I got mine. It was awesome. Hey, I just told you I love you. Aren't you going to say anything back? I love you too. But I was pretty harsh with my ex. Are you sure you don't mind? I pulled Ava in closer, a half smile on my face. You see, Jessica was messing around with her guy best friend. I just blocked her, walked away, and I'll never care what happens to her again. I even beat the crap out of Tyler. Pretty cruel, huh? I don't mind. Ava, the rich girl, was a complete love-struck puppy right now. Her voice was full of satisfaction. I love you, and I love all of you. Yeah, but in the original story, you were also the one who thought the protagonist was too cold. But it didn't matter. I wasn't a doormat. I take every relationship seriously, but I'm ruthless with my exes. And that didn't just apply to Jessica. While Tyler was eating my leftovers, I was dining on 5-star meals and planning a tech company with Ryan. By the time he came back with those leftovers, Ryan and I had already registered Stone Cold Tech. Our main business was an extension of a generative AI media project we'd worked on in college. I had the technical skills from 2 lifetimes. He had the capital and connections. We were a perfect team. When Jessica realized that the kite she was flying had snapped its string mid-tug of war, that I hadn't come crawling back begging for a second chance, as she'd expected, she was floored. Ethan, Jessica is a complete mess over there. She's saying, you got mad at her, and now you're just ignoring her. She'd even managed to get our old college advisor, Professor Davis, to act as a mediator. Listen to me, son. You can't let your emotions get the best of you. Couples have their ups and downs. It was no use. I had already informed all our mutual friends and family about that Jessica cheated with her best friend, so I broke up with her situation. I didn't even follow the original script of keeping it secret so my parents don't worry. I sent the photo of Jessica and Tyler kissing to our family group chat. Turns out, my parents could handle it just fine. They were even more furious than I was. If I hadn't told them that their scumbag son had already seamlessly moved on with Ava, they probably would have driven down to Seattle to demand justice for me. With no friends or family to help her plead her case, Jessica was getting desperate. Getting our old professor involved showed just how panicked she was. Professor Davis, do you have any idea what Jessica did to me? Didn't she just say you two had a misunderstanding and got into a fight? Hearing that the professor was also in the dark, I had to laugh. Professor, you don't know. Jessica has changed these last few years. She can't speak a single true word anymore. Here, let me give you the whole story. Spilling the tea is the best. I gave the professor a full serving of drama and even thoughtfully share my evidence. In the end, all he could do was sigh with a hint of regretful satisfaction and let us be. But I knew that this kind of social suicide would eventually come back to bite Jessica. After a few more failed attempts, her side seemed to realize I couldn't be pressured by friends or family. Maybe she was feeling the sting of the public opinion backfiring because Jessica stopped her pointless efforts. But I knew she was just gearing up for a big move. After all, this was a taming the nice guy world. The girlfriend and her bestie wouldn't go down that easily. Sure enough, a while later, I was contacted by the production team of a local TV mediation show. They said they were willing to help me resolve the conflict with my girlfriend and clear up the misunderstanding. They said they were helping, but their words were laced with moral blackmail and threats. At first, I refused, but then I thought, people walking willingly into their own destruction? What a gift. Your weapon can also be my ladder to the sky. Fine. You want to do a show? I'm in. Let's see who really ends up on top. On the day of the show, Jessica was a crying, tragic mess, as if she'd suffered the world's greatest injustice. Tyler stood by her, looking fragile and innocent, like a delicate flower in the wind. The panel of experts were all fired up with righteous indignation. The storm brewing on set was almost comical. Let's see who's playing whom. The host started off, barely concealing his glee, using relatively objective language. But one of the guests couldn't hold back and started with the passive-aggressive comments. His words were barbed, and my answers were veiled. Soon, we were at each other's throats. Across the stage, Jessica, seeing my sharp tongue for the first time, was stunned. It was clear she was starting to wonder if forcing me onto this show was a terrible move. But the die was cast. It was no longer up to her. Guest A lectured me earnestly. If you ask me, young man, you're just too petty. Haven't you ever heard the saying, turn a blind eye to keep the peace? How can you live your life putting everything under a microscope? How I live my life is my business. I don't tolerate filth in my eyes. If you don't like it, come and get me. I'll call the cops. I shot back. Guest B, face red with anger, spoke passionately. The client just likes to have fun. How she lives her life is her freedom. Who are you to define her life for her? Besides, she said they were just friends, so they were just friends. Would a girl lie about something like that? You're being so intolerant. Are you some kind of fossil from a bygone era, with your brain all wrapped up in archaic nonsense? Did you just mistake the bathroom for a 5-star restaurant and forget to rinse your mouth out? What she and her bestie do is none of my damn business. I retorted, then showed the pictures a friend of Ryan's had taken for me of Jessica and Tyler arm in arm in a hotel hallway in Maui. I didn't forget the finishing blow. She has the freedom to go to Maui for a 7-day couple's getaway with her best friend, and I have the freedom to break up with her. You're so eager to force-feed people leftovers. Is it because you see a kindred spirit? Afraid your boyfriend might look into your past? Could it be you've got a few stories of your own? The audience erupted in laughter. Guest B's face turned the color of raw liver. He looked like he was about to faint. Guest C had a kind, matronly face and spoke in a string of platitudes. Son, you have to understand, we live in an age of freedom. Words like devoted partner and self-respect, those are negative terms now. And you're too extreme. You must remember, language forms ideas. Ideas form character, and character determines destiny. If you continue down this path, I'm afraid your future won't be a happy one. They say you can't hit a smiling face, but I was about to find out how long that benevolent smile would last. Ma'am, I'll be sure to remember what you said, that devoted partner and self-respect are negative terms. I'll even help you spread the word online. Let everyone see just how noble your morals are and how advanced your ideas are. And by the way, my personality isn't changing. This is the life I've got. You fight your battle, I'll fight mine. But my chaos has a purpose. How can you possibly win? As for you, I continued, you sound so certain. Is it because you're fine with your daughter-in-law also messing around with her guy best friend? Is your son one of those guys who likes being cheated on? My counterattack sent the audience into another round of laughter. Guest C was furious, the kind look on her face shattering. My daughter-in-law has self-respect. Don't you dare slander her. You just said self-respect was a negative term. Ma'am, is your left brain attacking your right brain? The audience roared again. The show was an absolute train wreck. By the time the mystery guest was announced, I could already see the anticipation on the faces of the panelists, Jessica and Tyler. After all, who can resist a good backstabbing? Ethan, I never knew you could be so cruel. Ava Monroe walked onto the stage, her eyes filled with disappointment as she looked at me. You're being too harsh on your ex-girlfriend. I can only imagine how cold you'll be to me once we've been together for a while. Prompted by some unknown reason, my current girlfriend had decided to stab me in the back. The faces of everyone in the studio twisted with malice, like a pack of ravenous beasts. But I remained calm. I took out my phone, held it up to the microphone, and played the recording I had prepared. But I was pretty harsh with my ex. Are you sure you don't mind? You see, Jessica was messing around with her guy best friend. I just blocked her, walked away, and I'll never care what happens to her again. I even beat the crap out of Tyler. Pretty cruel, huh? I don't mind. I love you, and I love all of you. Their ultimate weapon had misfired. I could see the panic and disbelief on everyone's faces. Tyler, especially, looked like he'd seen a ghost, which gave me an immense sense of satisfaction. Their secret weapon didn't make me break down, but Ava fainted from the shock of me asking. Any other questions? Miss Ex-Girlfriend. The set descended into chaos. The whole spectacle had completely fallen apart. I knew my darling ex, Jessica, and her brilliant best friend, Tyler, had plenty of other scripted lines prepared for me. But I wasn't going to give them the chance to use them, because my preparations were far more thorough than theirs. This isn't over. The host hissed at me in a low voice as I was leaving. I gave him a cold smirk. Everyone knows you will just edit this footage to make me look like the bad guy, right? That's hilarious. You see, one of my Buddy Ryan's guys was in your live studio audience. He recorded the whole thing. What you thought was your checkmate was just a promotional stunt for Stone Cold Tech. That's right. This isn't over. What happened next was exactly what Ryan and I had predicted. The show aired an edited version, their malicious intent plain to see. They hired a bot farm to create buzz, which we were happy to see. Once it had fermented a bit, I released the original, unedited footage Ryan had recorded for me. Along with it, we dropped a malicious editing comparison compilation video. Ethan, no one to quit, or you'll regret it. Your life is on the line. Kitchen knife, kitchen knife, kitchen knife. A threatening text from an unknown number. I knew, of course, that it came from my ex-girlfriend's good friend, Tyler. The little wolf was finally showing his teeth. What could I do? Call the police and hire bodyguards, obviously. Ryan was paying for the security anyway. He wasn't about to let his business partner get taken out by some gigolo's blade. It's rude not to return a favor. After Tyler's little provocation, we launched an all-out counteroffensive. They could use bots, and so could we. Better yet, we were a generative AI media company. We could play this game way better than them. All sorts of AI-generated meme videos went flying, maximizing the entertainment value. Anyone who had appeared on that show became infamous overnight. When Stone Cold Tech's lawyers sent cease and desist letters to the TV station and the main bot farm operator, then publicly filed a lawsuit, the final battle reached its peak. From then on, any lingering doubt about Jessica and Tyler's villainy was gone. Their names were permanently nailed to the internet's wall of shame. Everyone on that mediation show, from the host to the guests, got what was coming to them. The show was canceled, and the producers were held accountable by the network for spreading harmful ideas and slander. Their careers were essentially over. Jessica's reputation was completely ruined by the viral memes about her sweet Maui getaway with her bestie. Her company, wanting to avoid negative association, terminated her contract. Hammered by the gossip, Jessica started to unravel. Her life was basically destroyed. And Tyler, the male bestie who came in with grand ambitions of taming me, was also finished. It turned out he'd gone crazy and pulled strings at the TV station to set up this show because his gigolo pride had been wounded by me, and he'd lost his mind. He had cashed in on the connections and resources of the rich older women he knew from the clubs, spending a fortune to arrange that mediation ambush. The result? I didn't bow down and accept my re-education. Instead, he became an internet celebrity for all the wrong reasons. The rich women who helped him set up the show were also exposed, facing the wrath of their husbands. Consequently, as soon as Tyler got out of jail for the death threat via text, he was picked up by men working for the husband of one of those wealthy women. According to Ryan's sources, he was flown somewhere you don't come back from. We'd probably never see him again in this lifetime. Though maybe someday, we'd be chatting with the big shot who now owned his spare parts. All that work Ryan and I put into our lifelong citywide industry blacklist plan went to waste. As for the friends who helped Tyler instigate Jessica and tried to humiliate me, Ryan and I didn't forget about them either. They all got what they deserved. As for my second ex-girlfriend in this world, Ava Monroe, I didn't bother setting up any elaborate schemes for her. She was genuinely stupid, but I had a really good time with her for a while. I just couldn't bring myself to be as ruthless with her as I was with Jessica and Tyler. We parted ways, which was a good enough ending. Knowing I'm in a taming the nice guy world, I'm careful to avoid the usual tropes. For instance, I pay the security guards at Stone Cold Tech very well. The classic scene where the guards helplessly let the ex-girlfriend or her accomplice storm the CEO's office and even kidnap him won't be happening here. Case in point, one day I was coming downstairs with my new girlfriend, Ryan's sister Chloe, when Jessica, who had been lurking outside, suddenly rushed out and threw herself at me, laughing and crying. She was visibly pregnant, her eyes wild. Ethan, it was all a misunderstanding. I'm done with Tyler completely. He's just a scumbag who ran off when he found out I was pregnant. We can talk this out. You can't leave me. The baby is innocent. You have to take responsibility for us. I don't have that particular brand of insanity that requires getting closure with an ex. Not want to act too weird in front of Chloe. I just put on a confused expression. Ma'am, who are you? Don't you know I have a thing about cleanliness? I turned and gave the security guards who were chasing after her a death stare. Security, show her out. If you let her in again, you're all fired. High salaries bring high performance. Despite Jessica's sobbing and pleading, the guards carried her away. Who was that? She looked so miserable, like a beggar. Chloe asked, though I knew she knew. Her eyes were full of playful cunning. I played dumb. No idea. Probably just some crazy person. Gets pregnant with her best friend's baby and still thinks someone else is going to swoop in and save her. Life doesn't work that way. It's pathetic, really. Chloe was just as kind as Ava, but 100 times smarter. She didn't show a hint of pity. Instead, she nodded seriously. You're right, Ethan. Adults should know how to control their desires, and they should definitely take responsibility for their actions. Some people choose to indulge themselves with a best friend and deserve to face the consequences. Chloe is the best. She's the kind of girl you marry and build a life with. I smiled and took her hand. Come on, I'll take you shopping. It's time we bought some more things for our place. Yeah, you're the best, Ethan. Chloe beamed. I led her out the main door. I saw a figure lurking in the shadows by the entrance, one hand resting on a slightly swollen belly, a look of quiet despair on her face. I pretended it was a hallucination. That night, I received a text from an unknown number. The sender apologized, saying she had been foolish. After hearing Jessica was pregnant and listening to her and Tyler explain that it was all a misunderstanding, she had been deceived by their lies, overwhelmed by sympathy and a misguided sense of justice. One mistake led to another, and she deeply regretted it. But she knew it was too late, and she wished me all the best for the future. I deleted the text. My heart is still as a deep well. Chloe, despite being young, was right. Adults should know how to control their desires, and they should definitely take responsibility for their actions. When you're reaping what you've sown, please do so with an adult's dignity. That's all there is to it. That night, I had a dream. I saw a furious figure, clutching a pen, screaming at me. It cursed me out, saying I had hijacked someone else's body and was running wild, refusing to be tamed, setting a bad example for society, and ruining its carefully crafted, ingenious plot. In the real world, I have to obey the law. But in a dream? Well, they're gonna let this thing run its mouth. I pinned it to the ground and gave it the beating of a lifetime. The world turned upside down. I nearly tore its spine out. It wasn't until the figure was barely breathing, promising it would never try to pull any clever tricks to disgust readers again, that I let it limp away. Ha ha ha! I woke myself up laughing. Beside me, a sleepy Chloe was confused. Ethan, what's wrong? Nothing, just had a really good dream. Feeling utterly content, I pulled my girlfriend into my arms. A good omen. Tomorrow was going to be a beautiful day.